Hey, this is Corey with Rigwell. Today I'm going to show you how to build a drawer cabinet. Let's get into it. First thing, let's sort this pile of hardware. Now there's a lot of hardware in this kit, but it's pretty easy once you understand the breakdown. We have small nuts and bolts here. We have our mediums grouped together, and then we have all of our larger sizes grouped together. And there's a few different kinds of bolts here, but you'll see these all fit these same nuts. Except for these specialty backers. I'll call all this out during the instructions. We have some rubber bumpers, some clip nuts. These will be your wood inserts for your hinges for your doors and the screws for those. And then we'll have some screws that go into the hinges, and you'll have 2 of these half mortise hinges, and you'll have 3 latches for the doors. And we'll break all this down into more detail. Let's get started. Find the 2 bottom and top plates. These guys are identical, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. Now we just set the plate inside the backer. This one has no hole cutouts. And just as a note, anytime you see a countersink like this, you'll be using what's called a flathead, and there's only one of these in your kit, so these will sit in these holes perfectly. Now that we got the top and bottom on, we'll go ahead and put the face plate. I did make a mistake here, and here's a critical one to watch out for when you're putting the back and the front together. You can see there's these holes here, but there's no holes in the top, and I have holes over here. So this panel is actually on upside down, and I'm gonna flip it so that these holes are at the top. We added our countersinks, all the ones that are in the front face, so you have those. You have 2 there, so in total you have 8 in this front face. Now with the cabinet upright, we're going to fill in these 4 countersinks. We're going to tighten those countersinks with a 5/32 Allen key and a 7/16 socket. Your kit will come with a wood panel and a metal panel, and those are going to use these clip nut holes here, which will be 6 on either side. Depending if you're connecting this cabinet to the fridge cabinet, you might not want a panel in one of these locations. So if you don't want a panel, don't put the clip nuts in. And if you do want a panel, add the clip nuts in to the side you want, but we won't put the panels on until a later step. I've added my clip nuts. You can see the 2 little ears go on the outside of the metal, and the main body goes in the back. We used a 5/16 socket and a Phillips head to tighten these guys down. Next, find these door hinge brackets. They kind of have an arrow towards the back. We're going to add our hinges to them. The part where it attaches in the back goes back. So these will just sit on here like this. And then we will use our tiny little 632 Phillips heads with the nylocks on the back. Those just simply drop in from the front like this, and the nuts go on the back, and we'll tighten those down. Now we use our flat heads with some nuts on the back. This is what it looks like, and then the nuts on the back, and we'll go ahead and put the second one down here and tighten those down. Now it's time to attach our slides to our slide brackets, and if you look closely here at this pattern, you'll have a slot, a little hole, and a middle hole. So that hole should line up, and that will correspond with the middle hole in the next one. And then in the front, there'll be another hole that lines up there. So you'll know you have them on here right if there's about equal distance hangover on both sides here. If you have the slide, one way this way or the other way, it's not lined up, but just go off of that middle hole pattern there. Also note when you're building this, the directions you have these slides. So this is the back of the slide on this one, and the back of the slide is reversed on this one. That's because when we put them in the cabinet, they need to be opposite of each other. For hardware, we're not going to use the small ones, but we're going to use our medium nuts and bolts. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten these down. So we got our 3 bolts going through this way, and then this is what the back looks like. You can see there's some extra holes here, but we used the very first one, skip one, and skip just one in between each nut. We're going to use a 3/32 Allen key and a 3/8 socket. Now the other sides of our drawer slides are going to attach to our drawer box. These will line up with the back of the cabinet or the drawer box here. And you can see there's really only one pattern that will line up for you. And we're going to use our small hardware this time, our small nuts and bolts. And these are going to use a 9mm socket and a 5/64 Allen key. This is what the drawer box looks like. So you have the front, which is designated by these tabs. And then you have the back of the slide back here. And your nuts are inside. And now we just need to tighten these down. Now we're going to put our bracket with our slides attached already into the cabinet. These little teeth at the bottom here face downward, and obviously the back of the slide goes to the back of the cabinet. We got this one in here so you can see our flat heads will come from the outside, and then you'll just put the nuts on the back. We'll go ahead and put this other one up and then tighten all those screws down. We're going to take our 2 rubber bumpers, and those go in. One goes in this hole here, and then the other one down at the bottom. We need to put the inserts in the bottom door. You can see I've already added these ones in to this, but your kit also might come with the version that look like this. And there's a little split at the bottom, so that would go, the split would go down if you're tapping it in. The best way to put these in, I've found, is to use a nice flat scrap block of wood and take your hammer and you can beat it in, and that way you're not going to scratch up your wood with your hammer. If your kit has these style inserts, you'll use the little Phillips head silver screws, and if not, they're the small flathead Allen key screws. We'll simply screw in our half Morrison hinges with screws on either side. Next, we've added our latch, tightened the backer plate, and that's what the front of the latch looks like. We'll put our face frame on our door by simply laying it over top. We'll use our short screws here, socket head screws. With these special inserts, they have a Phillips head on the back, and so those will go in the back. Your bolts will drop in through the front, and we'll just tighten those up. There's 6 of them total. To tighten these, we'll use a 1/8 Allen wrench and a number 2 Phillips head. Now just simply snap these hinges together and your door should be operating. You can always adjust this latch in the back for tension there as well. Next, we're going to put our 2 drawer boxes in, and then we'll put the face frames on. When sliding the drawers in, they might want to stop at the very end, and you'll have to do a hard push and you'll hear a click, and that means they're set. We've already pre-assembled our latches into our drawer fronts. Next, we'll just lay the face frame over top, and then we'll use our long bolts with our nuts to attach them to the drawer boxes. We'll use our 7/16 and our 1/8 Allen to tighten these up. And these drawer fronts are highly adjustable. They're slotted in the back so that you're able to get the gaps between each of these doors just perfect. You can also adjust these latches so they catch real nice. We've added our bamboo panel to this side, and this just uses the 6 bolts to hold it on, and these are your furniture bolts. They look like this. On this side, we're going to leave it empty because we're going to attach it to the fridge module, and we want a straight pass-through. You'll use these holes and the bottom 2 holes to bolt any of these cabinets together. And the last step is simply adding the countertop on, and there's holes up there with wood screws that will just go straight up from the bottom. Thanks for watching.